question focuses on the Six-Day War of 1967 that was fought between Israel and two other Arab countries, Egypt, Jordan, and Syria. And it essentially focuses on whether Israeli military tactics during the war were the only determinant of Israeli victory, because that tends to be the case in most of historical narratives. So my extended essay focused on a to what extent approach to that entire situation, and it looked at whether those tactics were the only determinant or whether there were other geopolitical factors which sort of determined the Israeli victory during the war. I guess in my case, it was something that I knew when I started, because when I started researching, there were a number of historical narratives which essentially tended to focus only on Israel. So the focus was sort of already given to you. But what I had to sort of determine was which other factors you wanted to consider within the country and from the other geopolitical scale. So it wasn't so much determining which country to focus on as it was what within that country to focus on. That was something that was left up to me.
Okay.
So what happened in my case was that during the first few months of the EE, I was looking for a lot of primary sources which could corroborate it, and that was quite difficult actually because a lot of them are in, say, Hebrew or Arabic, which are languages that I don't understand beyond the point. So understanding a complex government document becomes difficult. So if I could go back and probably redo the entire extended essay all over again, I would start off by looking for primary sources and then looking at secondary sources, because secondary sources I was able to get easily even during the pandemic, but primary sources was difficult. So if I would have had a little more time to go back and redo it, I would have looked for more primary sources which would have corroborated it. So that would have probably changed the angle from which I was researching, because that wouldn't have given me the advantage of hindsight that the secondary sources did.
Okay.
So definitely, I think one of the high points of the entire extended essay was just going through all of the reading. So it sort of developed my research skills, because I anyways tend to be somebody who enjoys a lot of reading. So going through all of that for the extended essay and sort of looking at it from my own perspective, so that's developing the critical thinking angle of it. That was sort of one of the most exciting parts of the EE. For the first time in your entire academic journey, I was able to sort of understand the data and sort of interpret it in my own way rather than that was the most exciting part of it. But I think that one of the
Pranjali,
more
may I ask you to repeat that one sentence because it kind of faded out because of some internet connection, where
oh,
you were talking about the research. Can you just repeat that one line which you said about research and about how it helped you?
yeah, so it helped me because for the first time in my entire academic journey, I was able to sort of read out the data, understand it in a far deeper way because of my syllabus. And I was also able to interpret it in my own way, which is something that I've never been able to do before. So I think that that was one of the most exciting parts of my EE. But I think that one of the challenging parts that I found most difficult was also the research in a way, partly because the research is entirely massive. So, for example, when I was looking at Israeli military tactics during the course of the war, there were entire books written about it, and learning how to prioritize what's important and what's not in the entire extended essay is difficult. And because it became a topic to which I became personally attached during the course of my research, it was sort of difficult to cull out things or to make sure that everything is being incorporated in a way that gives your analysis the edge and requirement that it needs. That was one of the more difficult points of my extended essay. So addressing the first part of the question, definitely the research is a big part of the extended essay, because it sort of teaches you how to analyze and how to cull and how to prioritize. So those are two different segments of the research process that you start to understand better. Then there's obviously the critical thinking angle that comes through with the extended essay. And I think that aside from the critical thinking and the research, it's also your language ability, because when you have to put something across in, say, 4,000 words, when the topic you feel may be more complex or requires more detail, then that communication skill of yours becomes really important, as are the communication with your supervisor during the entire process. So I think that all throughout the extended essay, those three skills become really important. And in my case, working on a history extended essay with these particular skills in mind is important for my future, because coming to the second part of the question, I actually do intend to pursue a combination of history and international relations at college, which makes all these skills really important. So the communication part of it becomes useful when, say, I'm going to be writing, say, a policy brief or dealing with further work at the university level. And the research is obviously a big part of my academic journey when I go to university, especially because it's a double degree. And that was one of the reasons I chose a history extended essay in the first place. So in that sense, the skills that I've acquired will be really helpful. So I think that aside from the acquiring primary sources part of it, the other challenge of the research process was essentially the topic itself. Because as an Indian, you don't tend to learn a lot about, say, Middle Eastern geopolitics. So when I started researching for the EE, it was like starting over from scratch. So you had to learn everything there was to know about geopolitics in the Middle East before the Six-Day War. And then you had to learn everything there was about the Six-Day War in general. So in order to allow you to analyze that topic effectively, because one of my arguments was about the buildup of Israeli nationalism, and that required a knowledge of Israeli history. So that was sort of starting over from scratch. And when you do that, it sort of leads to this massive information buildup in your head, which creates a problem even when you're writing the extended essay, because all of a sudden you do know a lot about it, and that sort of creates this desire to sort of put everything across, and then at the end of it you realize that you have only 4,000 words, and you sort of need to prioritize. And like Miss, you said, it becomes important to understand that the person sitting opposite you also needs to get what you're saying. So if I include something that has too little context or too much context, both of those situations are equally damaging. So I think that that's also a challenging part of the research process. First thing I would definitely say is don't wait for an actual deadline to come up. So, for example, if you have a deadline for, say, a topic or a literature review, start doing it a lot before so that you actually know what you're talking about well before the deadline. And if, for example, you have questions about something, or if you want to go over something with your supervisor or coordinator before, you definitely have the option to do that. So, don't wait for the actual deadline or a week before the actual deadline to start doing it. Again, this would also depend on the type of EE that they're doing, but I would definitely recommend that you use a lot of sources, because sometimes what happens with sources, and it's an argument that I found myself working with as well, that sometimes when you use too few sources, you don't come across the perspectives that you require. So use the perspectives that you need and use the sources that you need judiciously. The other thing I would say in the EE is don't put too much context or too little context. Like, make sure it's exactly appropriate to the person sitting opposite you. And when you're looking at the EE, you should look at your extended essay like the person sitting opposite you who's going to be reading your extended essay will know nothing about anything that you're saying. So even if you were to pick up, say, a random person from the street, they should be able to understand your extended essay. And if that's a criteria that you can meet, then I think you would be in a very good place to look at the critical thinking analysis and the sort of evaluation part of your extended essay. And the last thing I would say is don't be afraid to ask questions if you need it. Like, for example, if there's a particular part of the criteria that you don't understand, or a citation query that you have, don't be afraid to ask your teachers that, or don't wait to ask them that, because the consequences of not doing that are really massive. So don't be afraid to ask for things just because you think it will be a stupid question. At the end of the day, it's worth it when you start, going through it yourself. Part of the question, what I would have done differently, I think first of all, I would have probably got my sources earlier. So what happened was I anyway started working on the extended essay pretty early on in the process, but I would have probably sort of sped that up by just a couple of weeks, because sometimes, especially with the pandemic happening, it took a lot of time for the sources to actually get delivered. So for example, if I was looking at a book and there wasn't a Kindle edition available, I had to actually wait out those 3 weeks. And because it's a history essay and there were a lot of sources, I was going through probably around thousands of pages of material to find out what's actually going on with respect to a particular angle of the topic. So I think that what I would have done differently was make annotations earlier on in the research process. So I started doing that around the time I started writing, because I thought that that would be beneficial if it was sort of fresh in my mind when I started writing down the arguments. But I think in retrospect, I think it would have been a lot easier if I started doing that when I started reading, so that it would have made the writing process that much more streamlined when I actually started doing it for real. So I think that those two things in combination with the primary sources thing that I mentioned earlier would have been the things that I would have done differently with respect to the topic. And as for the second question about the school support during the pandemic, firstly, I think that you would have to seriously thank the faculty for the amount of support that we've got during the pandemic, because I know it's not been easy. There have been quite a few times when the supervisors were sort of, or I had internet connection problems at my end. It's happened actually during the first draft of the submission when I was having a massive internet connection problem. And I think that that sort of, and I think the fact that the supervisors are always there, it sort of helps you. Like, Miss, you probably know that I asked you about so many citation queries before the extended essay was submitted. So I think that that support was really beneficial for all of us who were doing the extended essay. But I think that because of the pandemic, we weren't able to sort of do things the way we could have done them. So for example, you can always share screen over Zoom, but it's really not the same as meeting with your supervisor or coordinator and showing them a piece of paper with an annotation or a book paragraph and saying that, okay, this is what I want to say, but I'm not really sure how to put it. And sometimes an argument that you convey over Zoom isn't always as effective as an argument that you put across in person. So I think that that was a challenge that the pandemic definitely had. But on the whole, I wouldn't say that I had any significant challenges with student support during the extended essay. I don't really have experience with having done this in a non-pandemic scenario, obviously, but at the same time, I don't think that there's anything that I would have needed beyond what was actually given, because with the support of everything that we had from, say, ManageBack to Google Drive to JSTOR and all of the other resources that we had access to, I don't really feel that there was anything lacking in my process, at least from my end. So I think that that was really great from the school's angle, at least. So I think that those two questions in my head would sort of be interlinked, because for me, successful research is a very relative term. So for example, if the question would have been something like, do you think your extended essay was satisfactorily done, then probably yes. But at the same time, I also tend to be a little bit of a perfectionist. And I'm also a student of both history and politics. So I sort of understand that no matter how much research you do into a subject, I've not actually devoted an entire lifetime to studying this. There are always going to be angles which I haven't explored, or things which I probably wasn't able to convey in my extended essay. So from that angle, probably you could have given me 100,000 words and I would still say that the research probably isn't as successful, because there are still things that you will inevitably miss out, just because number one, you're not actually a person who studied this. Like I mentioned, I started studying this last year when I actually decided on the topic, but I'm not actually a citizen of that particular place and I haven't grown up with it. So that's a perspective that I don't have. So from that angle, I will always be looking at it from an outsider's point of view, which could also have impacted my research in a few ways. But I also think that that also causes a lot of unanswered questions, especially when I have two subjects which are playing out in my head at the same time. So if, for example, I'm looking at my extended essay and I'm talking about the Soviet-Arab nexus, which I wasn't able to talk about to the extent that I would have liked in 4,000 words, that's a big unanswered question in my head. For example, the role of Western interventionism, whether it was the United Kingdom or the US or France during the Suez crisis, those are all things that I would have liked to explore more, but I just didn't have the time or the word count to explore them the way that I wanted to. So in that sense, those were a lot of unanswered questions. Like even within the scope of Israeli military tactics in itself, I think that I chose the most important ones for the extended essay and the ones which would have developed my argumentation the most. But at the same time, there are also quite a few more which I found quite interesting, but I wasn't able to explore them. So even within that, you sort of start asking yourself whether you actually were talking about the most important ones or the most critical ones or something like that. So, those are all unanswered questions which need to be researched further. And they're all things that you can't exactly explore within your research. So, I mean, as a perfectionist, I would say that I'm pretty happy with the quality of work that I did given the constraints that I had. But given the choice, I would love to explore these questions further because I think that they would have impacted the research equally. So, yeah.
Okay.
So as the author of the extended essay, reading your own paper and reading your conclusion is sort of like this out of body experience where you can't actually believe you wrote that or you researched that or you thought that. But in terms of whether I hope that it will give the person reading it some clarification into what I was trying to say, I hope so. Because in my head it did, but like I said, I'm the author, so I probably understand it just a little bit better than a person who, for example, doesn't know anything about the Six Day War. But I hope it did a decent enough job of explaining my point because I made sure in my extended essay that my conclusion sort of drew upon other mini conclusions that I wrote about in the course of my essay. And I didn't introduce any new argument in the conclusion, but I just sort of wanted to tie up everything to give it a more evaluative angle. And because my question was a to what extent question, and my conclusion had to consider a number of factors, I think that as a student of history and politics, the fact that you have a number of factors to talk about and the fact that you can discuss which factor you think was more important or which factor you think was less important while still acknowledging that all of them played a role in the Israeli victory, whether big or small. I think that that's one of the more important parts of the conclusion. So I think that when you answer a to what extent question with that kind of a conclusion, for example, I mentioned that Israeli military tactics did play a role, but not to the same extent as another factor. For example, the rise of Israeli nationalism, without which the tactics would not have been possible.
Yeah.
So when I from that perspective, I think that the conclusion is evaluative in that sense because you're still acknowledging that some things exist and Israeli military tactics are still there. And I think that that means you're not negating one perspective entirely, which is sort of just evaluating between perspectives to see which one you think is more important. So, in that sense, I think that my conclusion is a good ending to a to what extent question because it's not negating anything entirely, which is exactly what a to what extent question tries to avoid. And I hope that it does a good job of communicating the same thing to the examiner. Actually, that comes a little bit from my personal experience because my mom is somebody who's been studying for most of my life now. She's currently pursuing her own postgraduate diplomas in a number of courses. And because my mom isn't as tech savvy as I am, she normally asks me to sort of help out with some of the formatting for her essays and everything. And when she does, I've learned a lot from her about, say, the Chicago style of formatting or the MLA style of formatting. And when I was writing my extended essay, she was pretty delighted that I was writing an extended essay to begin with. But then she also made sure to sort of remind me about the entire citation angle. And that sort of inspired me to download the Kindle edition because I've realized that plagiarism and a lot of other things are very serious in the academic world. And especially because I intend to be a part of that academic circle for a long part of my life, I think that it was important for me to learn that. And like I said, it's just a part of who I am. I tend to be a perfectionist and very paranoid when it comes to everything I do. So if I'm downloading a Kindle edition, I will probably read it from cover to cover for no other reason than I will not like it if my citations are a little messy. So I think that in that sense, it becomes important. And like I said, I don't know. I think when you're writing an extended essay, it's really important to ask for the help that you need because, like you said, it's the first time we're doing this. So it's really I don't know, detrimental to think that you know everything about the citations process or everything about the research process. So when, for example, you do need help or when you think it's a skill that you're going to use later and you need to develop, I think that you need to sort of take the opportunity that the school and the curriculum is giving you and sort of make the most of that. Because something that you learn over an extended period of learning citations in school is something that you won't be able to do in college or in later life when it's supposed to be a skill that you already have. So if you have the option, I think that I've been very lucky as compared to other people. So I think that if you have the option and if you have the ability to sort of hone that skill before you go to college or before you do something that is going to require that skill, I think that it's important to learn about that. So I think that that was why I sort of learned about the citations process, not just because it would have served me well in the future, but also because it's just important for you to maximize on the opportunities that you have. So